Today we have Eric Wilmoth of Ozark Petroleum Transport and Travel Centers of the Ozarks, based in Mount Vernon, Missouri. Eric has tremendous experience in both the fuel business and operating a trucking company. Eric, we're here for your knowledge. My friend, welcome.
Thank you, Raymond. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, hey, to get us kicked off here, tell us the history and background of your family's business.
Absolutely. My grandfather started the business in 1953. Started with a single service station in Mount Vernon, Missouri, where our headquarters is at today. His dad ended up joining the business with him about 6 months or a year after he got started. Had a single service station here in Mount Vernon until 1970, and then they bought some property, got wind that the interstate system was going to come through Mount Vernon, bought the property on where our original travel center in Mount Vernon is located, built a service station there, 1970, rebuilt a travel center type, truck stop travel center type facility there at the original location in Mount Vernon. And then in 1980, in the mid-70s, my uncle joined the business with my grandfather, about 1976. And then in 1980, we were the first franchisee that Travel Centers of America as Truck Stops of America at the time. Became part of that network in 1980. And then later, 1987, we bought a company called Mixed Transport. That was kind of our first introduction into the logistics world. We had operated a single truck before that, before our travel center. But really, our first experience in the travel center business was operating Mixed Transport that we bought in 1987. We bought 5 trucks, 5 trailers, and kind of grew it from there. We grew it about 125 trucks at one point in time. Then we sold that business in 2008, but kind of backtracking. In the early 90s, we got in the wholesale fuel business under Ozark Mountain Petroleum, which became Ozark Mountain Energy. We started that business out as basically just selling fuel to ourselves, and then we started marketing product to, other people, other customers of ours, and people we knew. Grew that business from about 25 million gallons a year to 750 million gallons a year over about a 25 or 30-year period. We sold that business in December of 2020 to Austin Petroleum. Backtracking again, 1997, Travel Centers of America purchased Union 76 Travel Centers, and they had a location in Stratford, Missouri that came up, and that was within our franchise territory, and we bought that location from TA and remodeled it, upgraded it, and owned that location since September of 1997, TA in Stratford, Missouri. Got into the convenience store business in 1998 through a single store we bought in Lincoln, Missouri, Warsaw, Missouri area. Now operate about 7 or 8 convenience stores. Over that time, we grew the trucking business, grew the wholesale fuel business. Like I said earlier, we sold Mixed Transport in 2008. Remained in the wholesale fuel business, just had common carriers hauling our product. We re-entered the transportation business in 2011, or 2010 actually, and re-entered 2010 to haul the product that we were selling through our wholesale fuel business, and just kind of went from there, and we just sold that business whenever we sold the majority of the assets. We've retained some now. We're hauling the product for our own stores. We sold the majority of those assets whenever we sold off Petroleum back in 2020. But right now, we're currently operating 12 trucks right now, so that's kind of the extensive history from beginning to current now for what we're doing.
No, absolutely. Well, I love that. And did you always see yourself working in the family business growing up?
Absolutely. I guess looking back on it, I guess I didn't even know there was any other options. But no.
Your dad didn't even give you another option, it doesn't sound like.
No, my dad actually encouraged me to look at other things, but I didn't think that was necessary, so I just went with it and ran.
No, I love that. Well, Tell us about your TA locations, where they're at and what amenities you offer truckers.
So we've got 3 Travel Centers of America locations. We've got the old location in Mount Vernon, Missouri, which is a TA. We're in the process of making it a TA Express. It's a fuel-only facility, smaller type facility now, just fuel and parking, pretty much, hot food. But then we've got the location in Stratford, Missouri. It's one of the busier TA locations there are. We've got Taco Bell, Subway, we've got a sit-down restaurant. We've got 150 truck parking spots, truck service facilities, driver lounges, game rooms, all that stuff. Modern Thrills and Travel Center there at the Stratford location. And then going to our flagship location now at the Ozark Travel Center in Mount Vernon. We offer 250 truck parking spots, state-of-the-art truck service facility. We've got an RV park on site, 52 gasoline fueling positions, 9 diesel fueling positions, 30,000 square foot store. We've got a Wendy's, Subway in there. 2 sets of restrooms inside the building. And then the biggest thing I think that sets us off at that new location, is our hot food program and our deli program. We've done a really good job with developing that. We're smoking our own meat every single day on site. Wow. And that's something not seeing. It's literally smoked in a smoker on site every single day. We're offering that product right there. It's fresh, hot, ready to go. And that's something that we've seen a lot of success with. And I feel like it's one of the things that sets us off more than anything at that new location is there is no place traveling that you can go get barbecue at a travel center that was, smoked that day.
No, yeah. No, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that new TA in Mount Vernon, when did that open up? When did you guys get that going?
We opened that up April 25th of this year.
That's great.
A little over about 6 months and a weekend so far.
Yeah, well, I love hearing that. And I'm sure you guys have seen just a great pickup of clientele there, if I had to guess.
Absolutely. No, it's been a good start. The economy's been a little soft, so it's a little softer on the truck side than we've expected, but we're definitely getting there. We're seeing a little bit of a pickup here recently. So.
No, that's great.
Very excited. Sure.
Yeah, well, shifting gears to the economy, what are you seeing and hearing from trucking companies out there right now?
I like to stay kind of up to times on this. I'm glad you asked this. It's pretty soft right now. I can tell you from what little bit we haul outside of the petroleum-based products, it's pretty soft. Overall, rates are very, very depressed. I'm going to say seeing a low. I think we've seen the lows on rates. Other than I have heard some pretty nasty rates out there currently.
Okay.
I think we've kind of seen we've kind of seen the low on that. I don't see a lot of upside here in the next, I would say 6 months, but I think we've seen the worst for the most part. You're seeing a lot of DOT numbers come back, they're shutting companies down. So that's a sign that the market's correcting. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. There's going to be a lot more companies go out of business, in my mind, here over the next 6 to 12 months. You can't haul freight for $1.50 a mile. It doesn't work. Fuel's $1 a mile for the most part. It doesn't work. You can't, you can't cover all your costs on $1.50 a mile. So at some point that's got to end.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, it's definitely very soft. Everybody has cut back. They're cutting back where they can and operating as lean as possible. But, like I said, I do think we've seen the bottom on the freight side of things, the freight economy, but I don't think we've got a lot of upside here for the next little bit. So hopefully that changes. Hopefully things will get better, but I think we got a little bit more, half a year to a year here. We're going to see kind of similar to what we're seeing. Maybe slightly improved some.
Absolutely. And, you talked about, trucking company getting lean. How can a trucking company benefit from a fueling partner? And then what does TA offer trucking companies from, whether a guy's got 8 trucks or whether he's got 2,000 trucks? What does TA offer as a fueling partner?
TA offers, there's all sorts of options. It just depends. There's, the Mastics, the Apex Capital, B2B. There's all these aggregator programs for these smaller fleets out there, mud flaps, TSD open roads. A lot of new programs out there that kind of came up here in the last few years. But TA, TA pretty much accepts any program there is out there, and TA will set up some deals directly with smaller fleets themselves. But a lot of smaller fleets, run under an aggregator program so they can get the benefits of a larger, purchasing umbrella. So it's, that's kind of the bigger thing on it. But, it's right now is you just got to cut back expenses where you can in the trucking business. And you're seeing that. I mean, Mudflap is a very successful tool in my mind for a lot of these smaller fleets to purchase fuel as effective as possible. Mudflap, you're getting right there what the bigger fleets are getting. Maybe not quite as deep, but you're getting within, 5 cents rather than being within 75 cents. So that's something I do think has helped these smaller fleets a lot, and these owner-operators and onesies and twosies out there that, Mudflap is a great tool, and I would highly recommend, using it.
Absolutely. And, from your experience in the fueling business, what circumstances or in your mind, what would tip the scale for a trucking company who does not currently have a dedicated fuel tank at their terminals? What would, in your mind, tip the scale, or what advice would you have? And, how do they maybe set that up in conjunction, or how do they manage their fuel from, what they have from a national program when their drivers, if they're across the country, versus, maybe local, and then they need a, thinking about a fuel tank at their terminal? What are your advice there?
That's a good question. I would say on a fuel tank, if you're running trucks pretty locally and, you're running anywhere from 10 plus trucks, if you're running pretty local and they're home, there at least would be fuel at your yard at least twice a week. I would say you're probably getting to that point where you could benefit from a fuel tank. But also at the same time, there's a lot of those, like with Mudflap and these other fuel programs out there, it's not as big a saving as it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago. My opinion, having yard fuel is more of a convenience and a time factor than anything anymore. I like to think of Yard Prime has obviously state-of-the-art fueling terminal in Springfield, 13 bays. I mean, it's amazing. It's something to see. But, for those guys, they're not saving any money fueling those trucks there. Or if it is, they're saving very little. But it's the convenience of getting that truck in. They can see, okay, hey, this tire, we need to change this tire. This truck's got an air leak. Rather than blowing a tire out, 200 miles down the road and having to have a road call.
Absolutely.
That's where the benefits of that are. You're getting the inspections done. You're making sure the truck is operating, in good condition to operate safely right up and down the road. So, in my mind, terminal fuel, it has its benefits, but at the same time, the wholesale fuel market volatility is unreal. Diesel prices here in the Midwest have taken about $1. They've ranged within $1.50 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, it's nuts. So it's got its pros and cons. I mean, if you're running locally, I would say you run 10 plus trucks, probably pull the trigger on it. But if you don't have guys that are going to be fueling there all the time, I would stay away from it because you can really get hung up on that market volatility really quickly.
No, yeah, thank you for sharing. How important, in your opinion, is the quality of trucks and recruiting drivers? And, just from being familiar with your operation, I know you guys have a lot of long-nosed Peterbilts, and, again, you guys are not going over the road, but how have you found, nice trucks, sleeper cabs, with you, we'll answer it maybe in 2 separate ways, maybe just overall the quality of trucks and how that affects recruiting drivers, but then maybe with your business, being local, but still having those long-nosed Peterbilts with the sleeper cab, how does that help you recruit drivers over maybe some of your competitors in the fuel business who are maybe running day cabs?
You know, everybody likes a nice truck. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just plain and simple. And we've always liked to run nice equipment. It's something, you know, it helps differentiate yourself. It's something that we look at. It gets an added benefit to the driver. Also, the resale value is something we look at as well. You know, it's a bigger thing when we were operating, 25 plus trucks. You know, you can look at it and go, okay, I can get an extra $10,000 or $15,000, $20,000 for this truck when I go to sell it back. But I think you're able to hire and retain a lot higher end drivers through operating with better equipment. We're extremely blessed with our drivers. I'm gonna say 2/3 of them have worked for us for 20 plus years.
That's
a lot of
amazing.
the other guys have been in the business or hauling fuel for 10 plus years that are working for us now. So I mean, we have no retention. We haven't had a driver leave in over 3 years.
Wow.
So that's, in the transportation business, that's unheard of.
Yeah. Well, what do you contribute to that? I know it goes a lot. Yeah, it goes a lot deeper than trucks. So what do you contribute to that retention that you guys have had?
We go out and we're hiring the best drivers you can hire, and these guys, they've got 10 to 12 hour a day, 5-day a week jobs that they know. Here's what I'm going to go do. Doing this, we're hauling fuel to our own stores, so it's the same. You're going to the same places. You're familiar with everything. Not a whole lot of curveballs, so you're not getting out there and going, And also, these guys, they're making the same money every single day. It's not, well, I had 2 good days and 1 bad day, and had a bad day. It's the same. So it's that's why it's true too. But at the end of the day, we've got a really great group of drivers. Wouldn't trade them for anything. So they've done us a great job, and just a great group overall. And I would attribute that, they just know what they're doing, they know what the job is, and they just go get it done.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And that kind of goes right into, I wanted to ask you about your philosophy on leadership and safety. And do you think there's more power in recognizing a driver when they do a great job? Or, how do you balance that with disciplining a driver when they do make a mistake? And, how do you balance them both?
Absolutely. My biggest thing, I like to lead by example. I want to be able, with our employees from anywhere, want to be able to lead by example. I want to be able to know what they're doing, know what they have to do on a daily basis, and I want to be able to, it's people appreciate being able to see you can step in, you can do this, or do what they're doing, or understand what they're doing, goes a long way with our employees. I feel like, it's something that you don't see a lot anymore. So I think, like to lead by example, get your hands dirty, get out there, work with them, make them feel like, they're appreciated. That's the biggest thing is make your employees feel appreciated. Safety and going over to safety, we're really fortunate. Don't really have to preach a lot about it. They know what they're doing. They're safe. They're not having to correct them very often. But, preach safety. It's always safety first. It's like I tell you, if the weather's not quite right or something, if you don't feel safe, don't go. If it's slick in the morning, wait till the sun comes up. Let's wait. And we're always getting our stuff done, coming in the winter time. We're getting our fuel hauled before the weather gets in. For some reason, we've got something. We keep it really short, and that's this. If you don't feel safe, don't stay home. We're not going to go. But safety first. So you don't want to have an accident when it comes to hauling petroleum products. So safety first, and take care of business.
That's right. Well, Eric, this has been great, and I can't thank you enough for sharing. And, the trucking business is just so essential to our country, and you just play a critical role in that, more than you even know. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.